The forces operating in the city of Deira in the southwest of Syria and previously receiving funding from Russia announced the creation of the Southern Operational Headquarters on the side of the so-called opposition. The statement was published by the headquarters. They announced their intention to unite with Turkish proxy units and Islamists, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and march to the capital of Syria, Damascus. There they intend to fight with terrorism, sectarianism and tyranny. That's how they call the Alawites and Bashar Assad's regime. One of the tasks of the headquarters, according to the application, will be to control the borders of southern Syria and preserve security and stability. They called on the civilian institutions on the controlled territory to continue their work, and the residents to save and protect the state institutions from encroachment and vandalism. The manifesto also contains an appeal to the fighters of the Assad government army to go to their side. Blogger Gwalat al-Mutik, whose author Bellingcat called that the 8th Brigade of the 5th Corps of Bashar Assad's army joined the new headquarters. This corps was created by the Russian army in 2016 from the former opposition forces that defected to Assad. The 8th Brigade consists of former fighters of the Turkish proxy group Youth of the Sunni Forces. Also, the corps was trained by the Wagner Group Hunters for ISIL and earlier the pro-Iranian Quds Brigade. Until 2017, the Russian General Valery Asipov commanded the corps. Russia financed the corps and supplied its tanks and BMPs. Now the corps became part of the Islamist forces. The statement also called on the Assad army to join the ranks of the new Syria by defecting from the criminal gang. The rebels also took control of all the checkpoints in the towns of Karak al-Sharqi, al-Maliha al-Garbiya, al-Sawa and al-Muzaffira east of Dara, and seized a tank and a vehicle. They also took control of the Al-Majbal checkpoint located east of the town of Mahaja and affiliated with the state security branch, the town of Nimr and the state security checkpoint in the village of Samlin. This was accompanied by violent artillery and mortar shelling by Assad's forces on the liberated villages and towns, where civilians were wounded, including children, as a result of shelling by the Jadida battalion that targeted civilian homes in the cities of Nawa and Jassim. The rebels attacked the military security branch and the district building in the city of Nawa with light and medium weapons, and seized weapons and ammunition. They declared a curfew due to the bombing that the Assad regime began on the city, which also caused a number of injuries. The rebels launched a surprise attack on an Air Force intelligence checkpoint in the village of Al-Jubalaya, located on the administrative border between Dara and Quneitra, amid retaliatory artillery shelling by Assad's militias on the village. Syrian insurgents entered two central towns early Friday north of the central city of Homs, bringing them closer. Syria's third largest city, an opposition war monitor and pro-government media both reported. The break into Rastan and Talbisay came a day after opposition gunmen captured the central city of Hama, Syria's fourth largest, after the Syrian army said it withdrew to avoid fighting inside the city and spare the lives of civilians. Footage released through the rebels' Telegram channel showed a convoy of trucks and motorbikes moving along a highway. The Associated Press could not independently verify the video. The insurgents, led by the Jihadi Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group, or HTS, have said that they will march to Homs and Damascus, President Bashar Assad's seat of power. The city of Homs, parts of which were controlled by insurgents until 2014, is a major intersection point between the capital, Damascus, and Syria's coastal provinces of Latakia and Tartus, where Assad enjoys wide support. Homs province is Syria's largest in size and borders Lebanon, Iraq and Jordan. Syrian opposition fighters were seen celebrating on Friday at the iconic water wheel site in Hama, a day after they captured Syria's central city in another major blow to President Bashar Assad. Fighters were seen posing for pictures with their weapons and celebrating their victory on the Orontes River. One fighter, who did not give his name, celebrated returning to the city 13 years after leaving it. He added that at the early stage of the Syrian revolution they went out on the streets cursing Hafez Assad, the former president and father of the current president Bashar Assad, and today they are doing the same. Syrian insurgents swept into the city on Thursday, days after insurgents captured much of Aleppo, the country's largest city. The stunning week-long offensive appeared likely to continue, with insurgents setting their sights on Homs, the country's third-largest city. Homs, which is about 40 kilometers south of Hama, is the gate to the capital, Damascus, Assad's seat of power in the coastal region that is a base of support for him. Abdo, a woman who lost her husband in 1982 to an attack by the Syrian army, said it was the greatest joy to see the military defeated in Hama. The offensive is being led by the jihadi group HTS and an umbrella group of Turkish-backed Syrian militias called the Syrian National Army. Their sudden capture of Aleppo, an ancient business hub in the north, reignited the Syrian civil war that had been largely a stalemate for the past few years. Hama is one of the few cities that has remained mostly under government control in the conflict, which broke out in March 2011 following a popular uprising.
بعد غياب 13 سنة عن حماة، اليوم نحن بحماة تاريخ 6/12/2024. هي ساحة العاصي. بال 2011 طلعنا نقول ينعل روحك يا حافظ، وهلا بتاريخ 2024 نرجع بنقول ينعل روحك يا حافظ، وإن شاء الله مستمرين حتى النصر.
يلعن روحه وروحه خلنا فوق محل ما بقبره. هذا اللي جوزي ب 82 عندك منه اولاد. هذا اللي لسه ست ايام هذا اللي خلى زود صرنا بأبي نزل ب 4 سنين انتقل المستشفى. شكيته لله الله ينتقم منه والأكبر فرحة.